This gentleman right here is Mr. Sammy Ravelo. He's running for Congress in the 16th Congressional District, which is currently occupied by Elliot Engel. Let me see. The district consists of, Co-op City, Riverdale, Wakefield, Yonkers, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, Scarsdale, Mamaroneck, Larchmont, Eastchester, Ardsley, Rye, and Pelham. It's a big congressional district.
Actually, yeah, the congressional districts are pretty big.
Wow.
So real quick, while we're wrapping up the hospital thing,
yes,
Mount Vernon is part of your area.
Correct.
And again, you were at my church at Greater Centennial earlier today.
Yes.
I know you said you signed a petition. Do you have any thoughts, comments, or anything to add? Since you're running for office and this falls in your area the area you're running in.
Oh, 100%. I mean, where do I stop? I mean, let's say it's appalling, that they are closing a hospital in probably the premier African-American, and brown communities. And I tell you, I'm without words. Hopefully the fight is not over. I believe the lack of trust in some of our elected officials has something to do with it, because people should be out with pitchforks, to be honest with you, because Mount Vernon cannot lose that hospital. There is no way that we can allow something like that to happen. So, I am paying close attention. Hopefully, our elected officials will come to some senses and try to reverse that.
Okay. So, I just want to give you a chance, since we, now,
Yes.
because I know you heard the whole conversation. For the people who do not know who you are,
yes,
tell them who you are, introduce yourself, and tell the people why you're running for this particular seat.
Correct. Well, I'm Sammy Ravelo. I am running for District 16. Just a little bit about me. I am not a politician. I've never held a political office. I just retired from the NYPD. I spent 26 years working, retired as a lieutenant. I originally come from the Dominican Republic. I came here when I was 16 years old. After high school, I joined the Navy.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you. We went to the first Gulf War and fought in that war. When I finished my service, I decided I wanted to continue, so I joined the NYPD. So 26 years later, here I am. I am a 9/11 survivor. It's one of the probably hardest things that I've ever had to go through. I was there during that day, and like I said, we're here. One of the reasons why I decided to run, because a lot of people were telling me I was very comfortable in working in the NYPD. I was a lieutenant, special assignment, working in the 46th precinct. So, people are telling me, well, what made you change your mind? And what made me change my mind was the rhetoric coming out of the White House, an anti-immigrant rhetoric, and I couldn't help to say, hey, he's talking about me, saying that immigrants come here to rape and kill and do all these crazy things, and
from shithole countries.
Well, are we allowed to say that?
No. This is
Black people before politics. Straight up talk.
We have no FCC. This is internet, and this is the show that's not afraid to say it. So.
Okay, great. Well,
you
like
don't
you
have
just
to
said.
say it, sir. We'll say it for you. You're running.
But maligning immigrants, and this country, ever since the 1600s, has been built on immigrants. It's been built on immigrants that some of my ancestors that didn't want to come here, that were forced here. So
well, let me just say, and I always say this, and let's be clear: if you're not Native American, you are immigrant.
Correct.
Or you're from immigrants. Correct. Everybody else is an immigrant. If you're not Native American, you're an immigrant. Your family is immigrants. You're a family of immigrants. So
I totally agree, AJ. And so that got me thinking. Hey, listen, why is the president. So I'm a lifelong Bronx resident who just moved to New Rochelle a year and a half ago, and I started asking myself, well, who's my representative? Who's the person representing me in Washington? And I didn't know. Come to find out, I started digging, and then it turns out it's Elliot Engel, and I do a little more digging. He's been there a long time, yet
Over 30 years, right?
30 years, and 3/4 of the district do not know who he is. And now I found that a little
Wait,
shocking.
3/4 of the district do not know?
Do not know who Elliot Engel is.
The only people that know who he is are the political operatives.
And
Really?
I mean, AJ, you can probably try to do a little
No,
poll
I'm gonna,
yourself,
yeah,
and
I'm
you'll
gonna,
find out, And like I said, the people that are politically aware, they're probably going to know that he is, but the people on the margin don't know. And for somebody that's been there 30 years, it's a little disturbing, to be honest with you. So
I have no problem with Elliot Engel. I have no problem with the individual and as an elected official. As a general rule, and this not applies to Elliot Engel,
yes,
I think I do believe somewhat a need for term limits in a lot of situations. I do believe that we have a lot of elected officials that are in these positions too long. I do believe that we had Dr. Ravelo in here from the Independence Party a couple of years ago, and he was saying that a lot of these guys go in to get the seat, and they go there to die. Like, they're pushing around oxygen masks, and they're on wheelchairs and walkers, and there are a lot of younger people. I think that this company thrives on ideas from the next generation.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And I think you do a certain amount of time, and then you keep it moving and maybe go on to something else. So I do believe, as a general rule,
yes,
across the board,
yes.
Well, Elliot Engel, he served the country. He did what he got voted in to do. He served the people. He did his job. Now he got to go home and take a nap. I mean, that's just how I feel. Like, just go home and take a nap.
David laughing too.
Yeah, really.
And props for whatever he did involving in the
yeah, he did a
impeachment
lot of
thing,
wonderful
stuff
things.
and all
But
that,
at this point, we need fresh blood. We need, new enthusiasm. We need somebody alive. That's going to, bring some passion. New ideas.
There's an African proverb, I believe it's African. It says, "Young men for war, elder men for counsel."
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So basically, there's a certain point, and that's why I tell like the Atif and them of the Atif that's down with.
Yeah.
Right.
I tell them they're the future of this. Me and Damon eventually, you know what I'm saying? We're in the 50s now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're not no longer the youth. We're young-minded,
Right.
Young at heart, but we're
Right.
not the youth anymore.
Right.
So we need that young for anything to continue to grow.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
that young blood.
I'm-
Real quick, Don, you got two comments from Donna Nolan from Yonkers. She said, "Served our country" was one, and she said, "NYPD and 911 first responder, thank you." That was from.
well, you're welcome.
And
That's very
thank her
nice.
son too, because her son is serving.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank your son for your service. I appreciate it. I just want to add one thing. I'm not running an anti-Elliot Engel campaign per se.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that it's time for the next generation. And
Yeah,
one thing,
that's what I did. Yeah.
and one thing that I want to remind everybody, Elliot Engel, when he ran and won in 1988, he told Mario Biaggi that it is time for the next generation of leaders, and it is time for you to retire. And at the time, Mario Biaggi had 24 years in Congress. All right, so Elliot Engel surpassed him by 6.
That's what's the
so
name's
far.
grandfather.
Who?
Alexandria Biaggi's
Alexandra
grandfather.
Biaggi's
Oh, yeah.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is.
Oh,
this
so
is-
that's who had the seat before him.
That's
how long ago.
That's how long ago it was that
Okay.
Alexandra Biaggi, her grandfather, was the one that had the seat. So, like I said, I'm not running until I'm trying to, destroy Elliot Engel. That's not that type of campaign that I'm running. I actually get along every time we run into each other. I offer him my respects. But the truth is that it's time for him to, like I said, let the next generation of leaders take over.
So what do you feel that you can bring to this district that is needed?
Yeah.
That you.
Great question.
Representation.
Okay, so basically, like I said, I'm a Democrat. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and we're probably going to agree on 90% of the issues. I believe in climate change. I'm a big union person, being a union representative in the police department myself for some 8 years. I believe in the power of the union. I believe in education. I believe in you name most of the democratic issues. We're probably going to agree. The difference that I'm going to probably one of the big differences, I believe in term limits. I believe in 6 years in the House, 18 years in the Senate. So meaning you get elected 6 times in the House.
Oh, 6 terms. Okay,
Right,
that's
6 terms. Yeah, that's 12 years. Yeah. And in the Senate 3 times. That's 18 years. I think that's more than enough, And ironically, Elliot Engel ran on term limits. That's one thing. The other thing is I plan to come to the district every weekend, as long as the Washington permits. Every weekend, and hold a one town hall a month, and somewhere in the district. I want to make sure, because that's one of the things that my beef with Elliot Engel is that most of the district doesn't know him. He's not walking through our neighborhoods anymore. Our district is majority minority now. So it's time for somebody representative to take over.
Yeah. Is it? Okay, I'm not gonna say it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say, is it true that in his on his downtime, whenever he's not running for re-election, he spends his time out of state somewhere else that's not New York,
Well,
like Maryland, for example? Have you heard that?
I don't know, but I want him to take his time to talk about himself, though, more than he said he doesn't want to do an anti.
Ain't nobody doing an anti. We're just we're just letting people know there are other options.
That's a question for when he comes on the show. We can ask him directly, because
Okay.
he's a friend of the show, and I'm sure he will be on the show. What?
I have a question.
Yes.
Education. You got that on the top of your list of priorities. I don't know if it was in specific order, but that's the first thing.
Yes.
Now we have a problem in New York, in Westchester County, with underfunding, and the formula needs to be changed. And the state has not been able to do anything about that. I mean, this has been going on for as long as Elliot has been in office. That's how long. But how would someone in the Congress help out a city like Yonkers when it comes to education funding?
Well, you solicit, you ask funding through the federal government. They give you funding, and that ties into another thing that I that's close to my mind. But to answer your question is, when the federal government allocates funding for each congressional district, that's up to your congressman to check to see where those funds are going to go. We have a very diverse district, and we have the very rich people in certain part of the district. We have the very poor people. We want to make sure, as a congressperson, you want to make sure that the money is going to where it's most needed. And if Mount Vernon is one of those districts, then let's make sure that they get their fair share. Another thing that I want to mention that goes tied in, and I'll be remiss if I don't mention it's the census. If you guys can help,
Yes.
and remind everybody to please, and it has nothing to do with the elections. This is just something that personal for me. Please fill out the census. Poor communities and communities of color have a very poor track record when it comes to that. So I want to make sure that the people in my campaign are always reminding when that census rolls around to please make sure they fill it out, because it ties into education. We get federal money out of whatever amount of people we have in our cities.
District, yeah. Depending on the
Right,
census,
so-
it depends on the money, yeah.
So that's why, now that you brought the education up, I always, try to plug in, census participation. And, Mount Vernon is one of those cities that, we want to pay close attention to, and when it comes to that, because they need to have the proper representation.
How are you on campaign reform? And the reason that I asked, and I've asked all the congressional, I've had 3 candidates for Nia Lowy seat too.
Yes.
I've asked all the candidates. What I've noticed from as low from school board to library trustee to city council to mayors and to the position you're running for, there's a lot of good people that could do a good job who don't have the money. And let's just say the most qualified person doesn't always get the seat because someone has more money and can outspend them, hold them in court longer, fighting their petitions till they run out of money, and a lot of people can't compete because of,
Right.
there is no campaign reform at this point. So where are you on that situation?
Oh, well, where do I start? And you're right. Poor campaigns, and I'll admit I'm
He's
one of those.
one of them.
I'm one of those. We have a big challenge. In the federal government, there's no matching funds. When you run a federal campaign here in New York, there's no matching funds. So
What does that mean, no matching funds?
well, if you run, let's say, in state or in, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say New York City. You run and you raised $1. They'll match $8 for every dollar that you raise. They'll give you 8.
Mm-hmm.
So that can help a smaller campaign. In federal government, you raise $10. That's the money that you
get.
have. That's what you get.
Well, I mean, that's what it's like in Mount Vernon in the city. So, I mean, there ain't no matching funds on the city level either.
Okay, so
The candidates come up with whatever money.
whatever
the party
money.
doesn't have no money
Right.
to do nothing.
So I'm, one of the reforms is a 6-to-1 matching fund. That's one of the
That the
my
party
proposals
puts in $6 for every one
for every one that you raise.
for the nominee though.
For
for all the candidates or
for
for
the candidates that make
The ballot?
that make it. That allows you to be competitive because like I said, if you are running, for example, you're a legitimate candidate, but you don't raise money, you're out because the party has right now, if you don't comply with whatever party it is, and whatever secession they have for whoever is supposed to run next, and then you're pretty much out. So we have to work harder, which we have no problem with doing that. But that's one of my proposals. I also want to propose limiting campaign spending, and have a little more transparency as to who donates to campaigns.
And I say that, especially in this race, because I've told you the former candidate who ran against Engel, you can't beat him if you don't have money.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way for you, not even beat him, to compete.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, it's you're not going to beat.
Right.
You're not even going to be able to compete. You know what I'm saying? On any level with and he evidently has a base. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
so there are some people that are still pleased with him, no matter how long he's been there. They want to continue to keep him in there.
There are
so,
favors that have to be returned,
Yeah.
and most of them have to do with money.
Yes,
That
yes.
we're aware of that. But this is what I'll tell people. We don't do things because they're easy. I tell people all the time because, like I said, when I decided to run, the question was, "What are you doing? Are you out of your mind?" And we don't do things because they're easy. We do things because they're hard. But it should be a wake-up call for everybody. Elliot Engel got primary by 3 folks last time around, 2 years ago. This time around, it's the same thing. We are trying to send a message. It's time for change. All right, and I believe that the good people of District 16 eventually are going to say, "Listen, you had a good run, but it's time for you to let the next generation take over." And one thing that I'm going to add is that we're going to be out there. I'm planning to go to every corner of the district, which I have already once, and I'm going to go a second go around and knock on doors and let people know. And I'm sure that eventually, the good judgment of the people in District 16 is going to take over any money that Elliot Engel can put out there.
So, okay, this is the second year of the early voting situation. So, well, no, this race was always this time, right? This primary was always in June.
No, I believe the last time was September.
No, it was not in June.
The congressional one was earlier. It was different. It was a different time than the rest of the. Engel and them's primary was a different time than everybody else's primary. I remember what month it is, but because I worked in them covering the election.
Okay.
It was definitely, you had his primary, then you had the next primary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, this brings everything in alignment. But that race was earlier.
Elliot is he just got appointed chair of what is it, the
Foreign Relations Committee.
Foreign Relations Committee. So that means homeboy don't want to go nowhere.
Well, I want to ask you about that. So
can I?
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I'm used to it.
Finish your question.
No, Damon. You see what I have to put up with, Damon?
So being that he is head of the foreign affairs, you said.
Yeah.
Foreign Affairs Committee, he was involved in the committee that was investigating Trump and everything.
Right.
Real quick, and I don't want to have a whole big Trump conversation, but real quick, where do you stand on all of that stuff?
Impeachment.
Yeah.
Well, he gave enough reasons for it to get investigated. They should send it to the Senate.
They're supposed to do like Tuesday or something, Tuesday, Wednesday or something.
You know what? Eventually, the Trump question is going to be answered at the ballot. That's the hard reality, and these fights that are happening in Washington that's been going on since the 90s, I think that's one of the reasons why we need a next generation of leaders, because these guys are going back and forth. As far as the foreign relations, I'm going to make a good point. What has that done for District 16? How much District 16 has changed because Elliot Engel is head of the foreign relations? Is that going to keep the hospital open?
No.
All right. Is that going to fix our potholes that we have in Mount Vernon and New Rochelle?
No.
And Yonkers? If anybody can, the roads I get it. I keep getting that a lot. He's the head. He's got subpoenas. We are at the worst period in foreign relations in our history. Has him being chairman, has that put us in check? Has he put the president in check? Because he's the so I want to put things in perspective here. I get that a lot, that people are telling me he's a head of a powerful committee, but how different has that changed? Have we gotten more money for education?
Someone asked, what is your knowledge regarding foreign affairs?
More specific?
That was just the question.
That's like a really broad
What is
question.
his knowledge regarding foreign affairs? That was the whole. Louise, would you like to rephrase that question, Louise? While we waiting for that, and I ask all candidates, I want to give you a chance too. For anyone that's hearing you for the first time, they're seeing you for the first time, how do they get in touch with you? Social media, website?
Yes.
Where do they go to contribute or
Thank
volunteer?
you, AJ. That's a good question, a very important question. Obviously, you can reach me at SammyRavelo.com. There I have my bio. You can contribute to our campaign.
Can you spell your last name just for?
It's Ravelo.
Ravelo, R-A-V as in Victor, E-L-O.
Okay.
I am up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There's also links there to our biography, who we are, and like I said, the most important thing, contributing. If you feel that our district should be the next generation of leaders should be taking over our district. Great. Like I said, the question about foreign affairs: are we talking about Israel? Are we talking about Iran? Are we
Well,
talking
I asked her
about,
to rephrase it. She said
yeah.
she'll try. She hasn't said
you
that
know,
yet.
but like I said, we've bungled every. I mean, I've never seen the United States being so probably our friends or our natural friends like France and England probably don't trust us anymore, you know, because we probably are not having kept our word on some of our promises. So, you know, we're in the midst of a, you know, foreign, as far as when it comes to foreign policy, we are.
Let me ask you a
Probably not
specific.
trustworthy
Let me
right
ask you a specific question.
Yes.
The taking out that person in Iran.
Soleimani?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you feel about that, and what the aftermath or whatever it may have been? And one of the things that came out, so I guess Iran did whatever. We supposedly retaliated, or some people said we started it. They retaliated back, and in their retaliation, shot down a commercial Ukraine plane.
Right.
You know, people, and they've admitted that they
Right.
shot it down.
Right.
But that
Killed
was
a lot of
and that
Canadians.
that actually was in their retaliation.
Right.
Where they thought that we were sending something their way, and they just shot down the plane.
They sent 7 bombs today
Yeah.
into Baghdad too,
Yeah.
and U.S. territory.
Yeah.
With nobody got hurt, but
Right.
I think it was 4 Iraqis got hurt, but no U.S. soldiers.
So where do you stand on all of that? Because that's been a lot on the news on the national level.
Well, we were told that you know, it was the reason we killed Soleimani was because he was an imminent threat to, or he was planning attacks on American embassy, whatever it is. I know that they had they debriefed a few senators. I know some senators on the Republican side weren't happy with that debriefing. So, you know, that's one thing that maybe our good congressman can look into, you know.
So what about they also, there was the pushback that what he did he shouldn't have done without consulting with, he didn't present anything to anybody, he just pushed that button and just made it happen. And a lot of people was like, you know, that's Congress.
Right.
You know, that's
Right. Well, this is what I'm going to say about that. A president should have the and even with Obama, you know, if the intelligence, which right now
Yeah.
we don't believe the intelligence, but now our intelligence agencies, we throw them under the bus when it comes to Putin, but now we believe them when it comes to killing somebody that, you know, from Iran, because we don't like Iran. So, you know, the president has to remain with the power of protecting us.
I agree.
If we are in imminent danger, you know, that doesn't mean that what, you know, Donald Trump did this time around is justifiable. And that's
right. And a lot of people are saying he didn't prove. A lot of the people in the position that you're going, a lot
Right.
of congressmen
Right.
are saying he did not prove
He-
that there was any imminent danger, and therefore should not have been allowed to
Should
do
not
that.
have been allowed
and
to
then
do
you
that.
would have been in that conversation if you were in office.
Oh
right now.
yes.
Yeah, but they
absolutely.
have up to the president after he does a declaration of war, whatever he did. I don't know if that's what it is. What he bombed, he killed the man. After he did that, he still has up to 48 hours to give the information to Congress, and he did that. He less than 48 hours. He gave all.
There was a
the
lot of congressmen
information.
that said they didn't get it till just the other day.
But by law, he found the law to go around it, and he did.
Right. Well, this is the question. The question
found a
is, and
loophole.
this is where I want to, I know that our congressman put out a statement, and some people put out statements. I don't want to see statements. Now I want to see the power that you have, subpoenas. Let me see a subpoena saying, hey, listen, you know, we killed a high-ranking military person.
That other presidents did not, who had him in the scope, did not, because what they felt.
It's
The
a
aftermath
consequence.
wasn't worth it,
Exactly.
yeah.
There are consequences. The consequences are you and me. You know, if you have plans of going somewhere, you know, you want to make sure that you are safe. And if the actions that our executive officer takes puts us in danger in the future, then that's a problem. And I have a problem with that, you know. So, like I said, I have mixed feelings because we're gonna have a president has to have the prerogative of defending the our nation, defending us if there's an attack imminent. You know, we maybe he doesn't have time to go through Congress, but we gotta trust that he's gonna do the right thing when he does it. And if we have somebody that is not doing the right thing, then there's a problem. And I believe that's the case in this time around.
I want to move on from that, but I just
Yes.
wanted to address that a little bit. And the last thing on that was that previous Congress and senators have given, like, where they control the purse and they had the power. They have given that power. The power has been given to the president,
Right.
not Trump, before Trump.
Oh yeah.
And now they're regretting that they're trying to reclaim their power now.
Right.
And
You give it away, and that's very hard to get back.
Yeah.
And that's they.
So anything that I have not asked you that you want people to know about you, about your campaign, about why they should vote for you?
Well, pretty much
Or agenda, any platform or anything that we haven't asked you about that you want to speak on?
No, we covered it. I believe, like I said before, without sounding like a broken record, that it is time for the next generation to represent District 16. Again, I'll say it. It's a majority district, and we know what our issues are. I think I identify more with the district. I am planning to be here more, and walk around the parts of the district that have been left behind, that don't know who our representatives are. So I believe I can be that congressman for the district.
Damon, do you have any questions for the candidate?
No. I want to wish you good luck, man.
Thank you.
I think you made a great point on him taking out Biaggi, and we can't. I'm a true believer in term limits,
Yes, me too.
I definitely wish you good luck. Enough is the other days of politicians staying in office to get pensions. I think we need to always find younger people with fresh ideas, and I think the country is in the condition that it's in is because we allowed these politicians to stay 20, 30 years, and we wonder why we're still having a problem. So, I wish you good luck.
Thank
man.
you. We're still fighting the fights of the 90s, and then saying, and then letting them tell us, hey, we have problems with education, we have problems with climate change, but it's happening right when you were there. So, Damien, I heard that you were in corrections.
Yeah. I'm still there. I'm getting ready to go to work tonight. Yeah, I'm still. I ain't going nowhere, man.
That's why it's right back on the show, because you got to go to work after.
Okay, listen, my brother, you be safe. A lot of good friends from corrections that I know. All right, and just be safe out there, right, brother?
Okay, you got it. You got it, man.
As far as war is concerned, and you said fighting some of the issues of the 90s, one of my concerns, personal, is are we ready for the new wars? The new wars are not necessarily fought with missiles and troops, but cyber. They took us over. Right. They took over our election process.
Yes.
They're coming through. They're attacking us. And I don't know if we're prepared to fight like that new level of war. Like we have to,
right.
We're doing all this military spending,
yes.
and we got the mightiest army
yes.
and military, but people that don't have that are kicking our butt.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that we always talk about the Chinese. They're investing millions of dollars in kids going into a computer farm and learning how to attack us. The answer to that, I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't know if we're ready because they're not telling us. One thing that I can tell you is that all the intelligence agencies, and I believe them as fellow law enforcement people that they are, that they're saying we're not ready and that we were attacked and we haven't done anything about it, which is mind-boggling, because I know any other administration, whether it's Republican or whether it's a Democrat, they would have pushed back.
Well, let me just say,
on this
ain't even all on Trump. This happened on Obama's watch.
Yes.
So let's just let's not blame everything. It's happened on Obama.
I'm not blaming Trump per se. Obviously it happened during Obama, but
he benefited though. Yeah.
We should have done something.
But you know what part of the problem? There's issues that people are really not talking about. One of the former guests, AJ Marcy, that was on when we was talking about diet and nutrition and diabetes.
Yes.
One thing she said that was very interesting, and I asked someone that was in the military, and they backed it up. Young kids are not going in the military because they are overweight and obese. They can't pass the physical exams. So we're going to look at it. We actually go to war. We're going to look at a draft where they're going to make people come that are able to serve, because of the fact that a lot of these young kids, the chickens is coming home to roost, and how the government actually spend more money in wars, but less on agriculture and healthcare. So it's going to come back to bite us in the behind, and that's one of the problems too, because they don't have enough people to really go to war with Iran.
Yeah, I want to leave you guys with something, and maybe you can ask the congressman when you have him on. He takes a lot of money from the defense contractors. So, and you guys can look at his FCC report, and I like for you to ask him, why so much money from defense. And one thing that I'm going to say, Damon, you said something that's a little disturbing, because we, as it is right now, we have a lot of men of color joining our military. All right,
Mm-hmm.
The draft, if we end up incorporating it, and I'm not for it, but if we do, and this is by the way, I volunteered, so I'm not speaking of like somebody that didn't have the courage to sign up. All right,
like our president.
You didn't have puts first.
Like our president and his kids who've been avoided, they were able to avoid all of that.
All right, and they're the ones thumping their chests, by the way.
Right.
We're gonna.
I have a question for him before you leave.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just want to put this in perspective. Who do you think is going to fight these wars when we get, or who do you think is going to get drafted?
Exactly.
Not these elected officials, kids. Right.
Exactly.
So it's a little disturbing what you said. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. But one thing that I'm going to make sure if I am in Congress is that there's an equitable distribution if that ever happens. But we all are in this together, so we all better have our fair share of young people going into the military and serving our country.
Lorraine,
I have a question. It has to do with the race for president, not your race. Have you noticed, because I know I've noticed, that the Democrats have eliminated all the black and brown candidates? And what do you think about that?
Well, maybe.
I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
It's so obvious.
Campaign financing again.
Yes. Well, that's. I haven't looked into that.
I see the same racism
know,
that we have in the Republican Party coming out in little ways in the Democratic Party, because there's of all the candidates, it's the Democrats that have eliminated the candidates, and they've eliminated all the black and browns.
I can't. I think they eliminated themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not allowing.
But a lot of it has to do, Damien, with what AJ said, money.
Well,
they're not going to give them the money.
This is what I'm going to say about that, and I know I'm going to get obviously, we got to put a little better. You got to do a little better with your policies and probably promote yourself a little better. The Democrats, we just had a African American president who probably was one of the best presidents in my lifetime. I'll be honest with you. Probably there's a couple of things that we might have disagreed on, but the man conducted himself with respect.
We need him back.
And I mean, great father, great husband. I can't say enough about President Obama. So I mean, the fact that some candidates of color fell off, I think they could have done a little better job convincing the electorate. I believe one thing that I could tell you.
Wait, real quick, Damon, say what you were going to say. I know you were trying to say it
I'm
twice.
sorry, Damon.
No, I was, out of the candidates, out of the black candidates that were there, they wasn't even appealing to black people. I mean, so
there's a poll
we
that
can't
shows
say that. They tried to make it a race issue at the end, but Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, come on, give me a break. Her Cory Booker left Newark in shambles, where the mayor over there now has been trying to fix, and thank God he's on his second term. Kamala Harris was one of the worst district attorneys and attorney generals.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
for black people. Yeah. So we just can't throw. Yeah. We look, I'm the first one to call racism, but just a bad candidate. Don't hide behind racism.
But you can't. You got to say
the polls.
The polls show that more black people support Biden than both of those candidates combined.
Right. Well,
like you know what I'm saying? Like Sammy, that's
well. I think Biden's a known commodity.
But Biden, I think even Elizabeth Warren and Bernie. With Biden is both of them combined, but Elizabeth and Warren and Bernie, the black people are supporting more than supporting those two candidates.
Right.
So I mean, you have to. I mean,
Warren
when the black people are not when you're black and black people are not supporting you, like Damon said, I mean, you do have to look at that a little bit.
That's sad.
I just don't like throwing racism, just thrown out there. One thing that I can tell you. What I can tell you, one thing is that I think the Democratic Party and both parties, I think this, this primary in Iowa being the first state in the nation, state is not representative of what America is, and that's where I have the problem, and that's where a candidate of color is going to have problems with that because the states that supposedly count, New Hampshire and Iowa, the majority of the electorate is white.
Exactly.
So I think that's where the problem starts.
Right.
So I think they gotta find another state that's a little more representative, and I think that
that's probably by design. And Sandy Barnaby says all systems will disproportionately favor whites, as it did with all the candidates of color, layers and layers of access.
Thank you.
That and Sandy, that's a white woman that made that comment.
She's real cool.
Okay.
She's head of the Anti-Racism Alliance.
Yeah.
Good person to know. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. But I think that's a problem. I think Iowa and New Hampshire, we really should start thinking about putting, getting other states to be the first of the nation. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I think that starts with that.
So real quick, where you would have a insight on. So Bloomberg spending all his money and he's trying to run and probably was mayor when you was working for NYPD.
Yes,
any thoughts on Bloomberg? Like from your professional, like you worked on?
I mean,
stop and frisk.
my thoughts on Bloomberg is that obviously we're going back to let's let the next generation of leaders take over, and I just have a problem with billionaires trying to buy their way into a seat. I really do have a problem with that. So, Tom Steyer and Bloomberg, there should be a limit of how much money you can spend out of your money.
You feel the same way about Bernie? He's a billionaire, no?
Bernie Sanders?
Doesn't he have money?
No. He's not a billionaire, but he's
a millionaire.
He's a millionaire, he's a millionaire. But
name me somebody in Congress that's not a millionaire.
I would have more respect. I would have more respect for Bloomberg if he took those millions of dollars and spread them out. We need to turn these Senate seats and the states that are the real responsible, spending money, because that's this Senate is never going to push back on this president. No. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So you would actually affect more change if and when, because let's be clear, everyone who's going to disagree with me here also said that there was no way in hell that Donald Trump could win the presidency. Donald Trump could go down in history as the first president to be impeached by the House,
and
to
win
be
re-election,
to be exonerated by the Senate, and then win re-election.
Right.
That's scary.
Because no one else none of the other presidents was in their first term where they were going for re-election.
Right. That's right.
So let's not. And for those who say that think it's crazy, those are the same people that say that believed all the polls that said Hillary was winning up until the election day. It was a foregone conclusion. So I feel like you would do more other than running for spend that money in those key states.
I agree.
Turning over help.
Agree.
Mitch
McConnell has Amy McGrath running against him, and she's a former candidate, former military, pilot, and we can try to help her, take McConnell out, who I think has been probably one of the worst things that ever happened to this country.
But I think though he has more experience running a city. He has more, like, some of these people have never run. They've never been the person to run it. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. He ran a city, a big city. Coming to the close of the show, last words, anything I didn't ask you, and if you want to announce social media or anything again.
No, again, SammyRavelo.com. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please get engaged. If you want to help volunteer my campaign, you can sign up again, SammyRavelo.com. And
it's a grassroots campaign.
Yes, it's totally grassroots, and you guys are going to see me out there a lot. And I want to thank you guys for the opportunity of having me. And like I said, we're going to hopefully surprise a lot of people in this race.
2 non-political questions we've asked the judges. Now we've asked all the congressional candidates.
Okay.
Two off the subject. If you was a superhero, who would you be?
Wow.
And why?
Oh wow, probably Batman, because he has no powers. Everything was he developed everything on his own.
Okay. And if your house was on fire, you can only grab 3 things. What would they be?
Wow. Probably my kids, obviously. Even though they're grown, they probably can leave. I don't know, my documents, my fiance, and.
You got any pets?
No, I don't. No pets. No
Okay.
pets. Wow, I don't know. The third one would be my car
his
keys.
documents, his children, and his fiance.
Yeah, I like to ask, just to mix it up. Y'all get the same questions about the same topics, and none of y'all expect this. So it makes you think.
The funny thing is, I probably bungled that one. But thank you, AJ. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, man.
Damon.
So we're giving the candidates now some time, but once everybody makes the ballot, then we're having all the candidates in these races come back. So,
absolutely.
Definitely. Please don't let this be the last time we see you. And if you are victorious, we hope that you have a relationship with us and you come back.
Definitely come back.
You should, yeah.
I was telling the pastor, by the way, I was at your church today,
Mm-hmm.
and I had such a great time. It was an enlightening moment for me, and I'm definitely going to come back. So you're going to see me a lot. 'Cause I'm definitely going to go back to that church. You really feel a power there, and I've been visiting a lot of churches. Trust me, this one was unique.
Are you gonna get involved with the go to the meetings with Mount Vernon Hospital? Send somebody.
Yes. Either myself or my campaign manager are going to go. And I want to say one last thing. Do I have time?
Yeah, yes.
It's about Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Please, if you have a chance, donate to the people of Puerto Rico. I think Lorraine said something very important. Try to find a local group. I know that whatever you donate is probably going to get to the people there. There is a group called Puerto Rican Flags Up. They're at 1300 Southern Boulevard in the Bronx. I know that anything you donate, David Aviles, make sure, because I vet them, that anything that you send is going to go to the people that need it.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say there's another group called Pirate Surf Club. My very good friend who I know personally, Andres Rosa, he also is involved. And so please, if you can do anything for the people of Puerto Rico, they need it. Puerto Rico is hurting right now, and I just want you guys to, anybody that hears that, to get involved and donate something for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Damon, last words, and we can't see you.
Oh, my bad, man. Hey, I just looked up since December 27th, Michael Bloomberg spent over $100 million
Wow.
just on campaign ads.
Mm-hmm.
know, I think where we're going with money is very sick.
Yes.
Because if we could spend, if he could just spend $100 million, right? He could have literally helped 500 people buy homes.
Wow.
Just think about that. You know, he could have put 500, maybe 1,000 people, maybe more, 100 million, depending on where you're buying. He could, you know how many families he could have put in an actual home that they will own?
Yes.
You know, so we have to really reevaluate, man, this money that's going into politics, because it's ridiculous. He lives in New York. We got all these homeless people all over the place, and he's spending $100 million on ads.
Right now, he didn't even make the ballot. Like, this is the beginning. This is
well, they said today that him and Trump got the most money.
Well, he's outspent Trump.
And he's outspent
Trump already. Yeah, go ahead.
Wow.
Go ahead, Damon.
He's promising to spend more. I mean, this is just sick. It's just sickening.
It is, and you know, and this is the Democratic side, and you imagine
exactly.
There's going to be a Republican that's going to end up trying to buy his way onto office, and that's a problem. We got to, you know, that's an alarm that's sounding right now.
And Sandy Barnaby said the spending is criminal. She also said,
yes, this is important. Please say with that.
You want to do something for Puerto Rico. Next Wednesday, January 15th, go to Philly and New York City HUD offices to demand release of billions in federal aid that impeached Trump is holding in New York City. Be at 26 Federal Plaza at 10 a.m. with your Puerto Rican flags or signs.
Se acabó el ay bendito.
Thank you for that part. And you can follow them. I guess this is at Twitter at PWR for Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Sandy, for letting us know that, because I got this information from Sandy the other day. It's very helpful.
Lorraine, last words on anything? Or Puerto Rico?
The same thing, you know, pray for my people in Puerto Rico. And if anybody wants to donate, please just hit me on Messenger. If you're interested in some of the organizations that Sammy talked about, hit me up or hit him up. I can get you the information from him as well. Listen, a flashlight, anything will help.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook, so anything.
And like I said, Ben is going over there on the 24th, and he's going to bring a couple of things, you know, flashlights, whistles.
Tents, nets.
No batteries.
Blankets.
No batteries, because that's why we're asking for solar-powered flashlights.
Okay.
Excellent.
And thank you very much.
And with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is episode 246, the second episode of the year. I'm trying to think. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover. We will be continually updating the Mount Vernon Hospital situation as that situation develops. We're going to continually follow and continue to try to dispense as much information as possible, and have more people come on that can speak. And we're gonna. I don't expect Montefiore to actually respond to us, but I'm going to be reaching out to them and the New York Nurses Association and other people like that to see if they can come on and help get some information out. Again, thank you for everybody for tuning in. You could have been doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you that real talk for the community since 2014. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week. Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.